It has never been more clear as following a brutal update surrounding one player in particular in the Toronto Blue Jays, a brand new trade report has emerged. We're going to break down exactly what that is, discuss what this means going forward, as it has never been more clear surrounding this one trade. We're also going to dive into multiple huge Jays updates, including a move they have made ahead of what's going to be a crucial next few games, next few weeks, and of course, the next few months into October as playoff baseball approaches. A ton to go over today, folks, as well as a few other updates. Before we get into it all, you guys have been absolute beasts with the support. If you want to continue supporting the channel and continue supporting me over here, making videos every single day on this Toronto Blue Jays team, this absolutely fantastic, electric Toronto Blue Jays team, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Your guys' support has been absolutely fantastic. Once again, you guys are beasts. Folks, let's dive right into it. It has never been more clear what the Toronto Blue Jays need to do at this trade deadline following a brutal update for surrounding Anthony Santander. So Ben Nicholson-Smith came out prior to yesterday's game and said Anthony Santander is not swinging and won't begin swinging for another couple weeks. John Schneider says he's hopeful that Santander will play again this season. This is about as bad as an update as you could have possibly, gotten here. And of course, I guess that's not true. The worst update you could have gotten was the Toronto Blue Jays obviously not having Anthony Santander for the rest of the year, but this is not ideal. They brought him back from his injury early. Clearly, that was the wrong call. John Schneider has admitted that's the wrong call. And ultimately, at this point, the Jays, you have to assume you're not going to have Santander back. And what that means is, A, a DH spot is wide open, and B, you can get a lefty masher, and you need to. And who better would there be than not Anthony Santander, of course, in Anthony Santander's absence, who better would there be than Eugenio Suarez? He is on an absolute tear. Homered again yesterday, has 36 homers on the year. And man, oh man, is this, this has to be the most clear option for the Toronto Blue Jays when it pertains to getting a bat. Now, of course, they need a starting pitcher, they need a bullpen arm, and all these different things. But when it comes to getting a bat, we saw yesterday, even though, the bottom of the lineup did well, Miles Straw, all these different things, they need one more power bat. And with Anthony Santander being out, that was kind of the hope. You bring him back, he would add some power. I would love to get another bat, specifically to mash lefties. You can see this here. We absolutely need a right-handed bat. It is not optional. Can have potential playoff lineups with Straw and Jimenez praying to make any sort of decent contact against lefties in a series like Rodon. It's a very interesting point there because for a while we were hoping that, again, Santander come back and that'd be the solution. It's probably not going to happen. Now, of course, you're going to get Verso back. You're going to get players like that, but you need to add an absolute power bat. And Eugenio Suarez is the guy. He is a masher. You now have a guy in Suarez approaching an OPS of 1,000, by the way, on track for over 50 homers. You can be at a point where he's an absolute beast, right? But you can put him in the lineup every day. And there was question marks about where he would fit into a lineup following, Santander returning, all these different things. For one, Santander is probably not going to come back. For two, that doesn't matter at this point. Just acquire him and figure it out. I am very, very adamant about acquiring this guy because you can see now Suarez has moved from a nice luxury target to a real target. And that is something that it's never been more clear to me that the Jays need a lefty masher. If you want to go into the World Series and make a push into the playoffs, all these different things, I love this Toronto Blue Jays offense. If they don't get Suarez, is it the end of the world? Absolutely not. They, of course, need to prioritize probably a starting pitcher, even though it seems that those are going to be hard to get. And then at that point, if you can't get a great starting pitcher, just go all in on the bullpen. We think back to the Royals in 2015. They had the best bullpen in baseball. They won the World Series. You think now to, of course, a crucial, series coming up here against the Yankees. The bullpen is going to be as important as ever. And getting all those guys important. But give me a bat. If this team adds Eugenio Suarez, I am so confident that they would be such an unstoppable team. He can play obviously against righties as well. He'll be an everyday bat. But against lefties, you now have a way more lethal lineup. Against righties, you have a lineup that includes Suarez and Dalton Varsho and Addison Barger and all these different things. Barger against righties. It would be one of the most dominant lineups in the MLB. And we know, you can see here from a few days ago, even before the Santander update, Suarez should be the Jays' #1 trade target, helps their offense in a big way, and also keeps them away from the Yankees. And that's another thing as well. More and more reports have started to drop revealing that, the Yankees had an offer on the table for Suarez for 5 prospects and things like that. We'll have a video covering that soon as well. But the Jays can not only beat that offer, I'm fully confident in it, they can go out and acquire. If you acquire Suarez, you're then instantly taking him away from the Yankees. Now, the Yankees might try to outbid the Jays. They probably have a better farm system and better higher-end prospects. but just go for it. Go for it. It's never been more clear. There's new reports dropping saying the Yankees are, going all in, but the Jays are actually very interested in Suarez now as well, following, of course, the Santander stuff. So let me know down below what your thoughts are. Make it happen, because through 100 games, this is the second best record they've ever had, and they made playoffs in like all these years where they've done this well. I'm not worried about the Jays making the playoffs right now. I'm worried about the Jays winning this series and actually being effective in the playoffs, and Suarez helps with that. So let me know down below what your thoughts are. It's never been more clear what their need is outside of course, the starting pitching and the bullpen. Speaking of the bullpen, the Jays made a big move yesterday night. They actually called up Mason Flaherty, and I want to just throw this in here in case you guys missed it, because it may have been lost on all the hype of the game. He obviously didn't pitch. They're bringing in their big guns for this one. And obviously, having lefties is crucial against this Yankees team. They're probably going to be, walking Judge more than half of the at-bats that he's in. However, Mason Flaherty is called up. Robinson Pena, who wouldn't have played anyway. Like, this is the biggest series of the year, right? You have to have your A-plus guys, and they're stretching out the bullpen. So shout out to Ross Atkins. We know they're going all in here. And Mason Flaherty is up. He had a bad stretch there for a little bit. He's still a very solid reliever. I think he's going to be a big reliever going forward for this team. But folks, I want to dive into a few things ahead of tonight's game, because this is going to be an exciting one. And, whether or not they get Suarez, all these different things, the trade deadline's a week and a bit away, week and a half away. This Toronto Blue Jays team has a chance to do something special, right? We know they're interested in a lot of different guys. We know they need a right-handed bat. But Keegan Matheson dropped this report here, and this kind of lends to the fact that it almost creates hype for me as a Jays fan. And this was in this article following last night's game. I'm going to read it out, and it's surrounding the trade deadline a little bit, specifically regarding Suarez, and kind of just playing into, of course, last night's game and into tonight's game. As the July 31st trade deadline creeps around the corner, every conversation around the Blue Jays needs to focus on their ceiling. Seasons like this are rare gifts, an unexpected opportunity to be bold in big moments. Toronto has plenty of depth and a rock-solid floor, so if it's going to go after a starter, it needs to be someone capable of pitching early in a postseason series, not just helping out this team's depth. There's still room to add that, of course, and a million reasons to do so, but Gausman just proved he's still capable of being a headliner on baseball's biggest stage. And of course, this article is basically written following Gausman's start yesterday, talking about how he can be, an ace on a Toronto Blue Jays, playoff team. I tend to agree, but at the same time, I think the Toronto Blue Jays team in particular is at an interesting point where your starting rotation is great. Is it elite? Probably not, but I don't think there's going to be any elite pitchers available on the market. Now, that's why I'm all in on Suarez. Suarez is a ceiling raiser. He would instantly turn this team into a World Series contender if they aren't already. I think they are, but even higher up that list. And as you look at the Jays, through 100 games, 59-41, an incredible feat. And of course, for this Jays team, we've been waiting years and years and years for this. So I'm excited to see what happens tonight. Obviously going to be a very, very crucial game, a very big game nonetheless, and one that is going to define the rest of the next few games for this team, because you're at a point now where win this game today, you win the series. You have a tough series against the Tigers up next, but let me know down below what your thoughts are. More videos are coming. More moves are coming. You guys are beasts. We're going to keep you up to date every step of the way. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys again. Cheers.